So what spirituality for me meant was a cure for pain, but something helped me snap out of it. That relationship feels like work. And then I'm like, wow, it's maybe not a bad idea to listen. Growing up, yeah. It is a beautiful location and the nature really helps, huh? It really helps.
Yeah.
Because it's still.
Slowing down a bit. I will start with spirituality, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, so what was your experience with spirituality so far? And you told me that maybe a year ago when we met, you were exploring certain things, and now you told me today that you kind of shifted away from that, more into science. So just tell me a story.
More into science, okay. But before I answer this question, just so we are connected, you and me, what do you mean with spirituality? I mean, we don't need to dig into too much, but like a little bit to understand that we are.
Actually, I don't have a definition. Maybe my definition is something not material, something that you might feel, something more in the soul, an experience in that. Whether it's how do you label spiritual? Anything not from the material world.
Yes. So that's what comes up in mind for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether it's religion, God, other words you can call it.
Because maybe somebody will say spirituality for him it's a guru.
Yeah.
Spirituality for him is India. Religion, yoga. Christianity, yoga, sports. Maybe, right? So I'm happy I asked, and which helped me also to ask myself, what is for me spirituality, and then I can maybe answer you. Because I already started a bit to answer the question in my head. I really didn't like it.
Okay.
In my head, because it brings the truth of it. So I tell you, so for me, what spirituality meant, and maybe what it means today, it's different. Okay. So what spirituality for me meant was a cure for pain. So I had pain, and spirituality is something that will cure me out of it. And in order to be cured by spirituality, I have to dive into it very deeply. And diving deeply into it for me meant listening to gurus, spiritual masters from all different kinds, but mainly in the areas of Buddhism and non-duality and Zen and all of these areas. So mainly Asia, kind of. It was mainly in reading books, participate in some small gatherings, listening on YouTube to a lot of teachings, a lot of satsangs, and following some guru very deeply for a couple of years, joining festivals, meeting people that speaks the same language, in order to find this thing that the spirituality that I was looking at promised, which was enlightenment, which is the cure for pain. And that's something that spirituality meant to me. And that's what I did for a couple of years. What I didn't pay attention while the years were passing is what is shifting in me, what is happening in me. And waking up from this, I call dream a bit, of thinking that this thing that I invented, by the way, in my head, all of this definition, it's in my head, is not necessarily something that will help me to cure the pain. And I don't know if it was COVID, and I don't know what it was exactly, but something helped me snap out of it. I think that COVID was allowing me a bit space away from it because there was not stuff available. So I had to be alone more. And this was useful. And that then I had a bit space from it, and then I started to see myself for real. And to see that, okay, this guy I don't like. Because this is a guy that has an opinion about how life should be. He has everything kind of sorted out and figured out. And he became a bit arrogant, and he became isolated. And I didn't like this version, and this is where I started to let go and going towards a different direction in my life, which is a bit actually means much more about taking responsibility. It's beautiful that the sun came now. Because, yeah, really every time I think, because it's years of going very deep into one direction. But it was also very useful. So I learned a lot about this couple of years because I was a lot alone. And I was trying very hard to understand stuff and to work and to think, and a lot to learn and a lot of struggle. So I'm very happy that it happened, but it had to stop, and it stopped like that. And I started to become a bit different in my mind about how life should be. I started to be a bit more curious about the pain, because why I need to cure, what does it mean even to cure the pain? What is the problem with pain? What is the problem with feeling pain? I was starting to look a bit differently about this stuff. And then I saw that for me it feels more real. That if I have pain, it's better to look at it and to understand it more than finding a cure for it. You see, like I try to bypass something. So that was spirituality for me. It was a promise for not having pain and to find a cure and to find something that I don't know that if it exists or not. But that was for me, so I answered your question?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, but I have a lot of follow-up questions.
That's cool.
Based on what you said.
That's cool.
So one of them is, okay, you originally went to spirituality to cure pain, or to find the cure for pain. Once you realized that this is not it, and then you left that, let's say, if I understand correctly, was there something that you lost in the process as well that was useful?
Wow. No. I don't feel that I lost something. Okay. I did lose stuff. But what I lost, I needed to lose. And there are stuff that stayed. And the stuff that stayed is the stuff that I feel like I need actually.
Okay, what are those stuff that stayed?
That stayed.
Yes.
The mind. So what stayed is really understanding my mind. I feel like in a much better way than before going into all of that. You know what I mean by my mind, kind of, like all of this, the voice, the radio that, you know, that's what I mean by the mind, this voice that tells you stuff all day, you know? I became much more clear about this voice, what it means and how it influenced me, how it decides stuff for me, or, yeah.
How come you didn't continue with it? Because you could have continued with those spiritual practices or whatever you were doing in your daily life, just without the expectation that this will cure the pain. So what I don't understand still is why you decided not to continue it, because you were doing it for a few years.
So what really brought me to understand, okay, this is not useful for me anymore. Like exactly. I don't want to follow this type of life.
Exactly.
Because it's a very lonely life.
Wasn't it? But didn't it feel like you're part of a community? Because there's other people and you go to these events.
Yeah.
So how did it feel lonely?
Because, first of all, it's a beautiful community. It's very, so the community that I find is a community that it's very easy, like if you're open mind, like if you have an open heart kind of, it's very easy to just step into that and just go, like I'm anyway this person. I mean, it's people with a big smile, and they speak and they look at you very closely, and they sing and you sing and there is fire, and it's very, very beautiful. So if you're into this stuff, it's very, but something about having a break with COVID from all of this stuff made me the ability to look at all of that and say, wow, look at you, you are escaping a lot. Okay. And escaping is something that I didn't see. I don't dismiss escapes. I think sometimes it's not a bad idea to escape. Like, I don't want to give escaping a bad reputation. But for me, escaping was not something that I wanted in my life anymore, not in this level. And I saw that escaping is definitely something that drove a lot in all of this spirituality. And for me, it's not something that I so much trust when I escape, because I know to escape very well.
Did you ever explore like the main religion that was around you, which I would say is Judaism? Did you ever explore that? Or was that something that when you were young decided was not for you, then you went on more of this path?
I grew up in a family that it was not a topic, religious. It was very little. And there was never an expectation on us as children to follow it. So and I think it's important as a kid, if you have it, it's probably a very good access, I would imagine, to religion, if you get it as a kid. So I didn't have it. So for me, I didn't have this structure of a religion ever as a kid, which is, there is probably cool stuff about it and bad stuff about it, but it was just like that. And then when I heard as a grown-up, when I started to think for myself and I started to see all of this religion that I grew up in Israel, looking at and seeing in many varieties, from fully Orthodox to I didn't feel connection to it. I didn't feel connection to it. There is something about it that felt to me like I didn't feel like I wanna be labeled as something like this. Like I felt like it's a big label to carry. And something that I didn't need. I didn't need this label.
I see. So you've never actually explored it?
No.
Interesting.
Never.
Okay. So it was easier to explore something far away from you?
Yeah.
Than to explore something that was, I guess, closer to home, that was in front of you.
Interesting. But again, spirituality, like I feel like that every religion, every spirituality has some marketing happening there, and this marketing somehow give you some promise. So, for example, if you look at Christianity, that it promises you Jesus and all of those values, and about Islam, I don't know, and about Jewish, it promises you to be the chosen one, and it promises you some stuff. Okay. So I like what you say, because spirituality promised me other stuff.
Okay, what did it promise?
It promised me the cure for pain, which also religion promised, so that's why I like what you said. But it also promised me to be this hippie, And to be a hippie, this identity, I kind of liked.
Okay.
I like the barefoot, I like the clothes. I like the appearance. I like the no perfume and to just let go. I like the fire. I liked all of what other religions I didn't find.
Yeah.
I just didn't find it. So I think such a good question, because I didn't even think about it. Yes, but there is definitely that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's also good background to know.
Yeah. It's definitely complete. Your question just completed now a bit more of the picture.
Yes.
Because I was like, the cure for pain. But wait a minute,
Yeah, why?
Definitely the style of all of it.
Yeah.
Set very well with kind of how I like stuff, It's very rebellious, very outside of the metrics and outside of the, Yeah.
So now that you're out of it, let's say, does that make sense to say you're out of that
No,
world?
it
or
doesn't
it's
make
not?
sense to me,
Okay,
no.
How would you
No.
describe it?
I mean, out of it, out of what? Out of spirituality? No. I don't know if I'm out of it. What I don't know. I will never feel comfortable to say it because you never know how stuff can hit you back in. But what I do feel like that I'm more interested now about stopping going like this outside.
Okay.
Like to come and say, yeah, this book, this spirituality, this guru, this person. I did it, and I got what I got from it. But now I'm much more interested to figure out stuff a bit here on my own.
Okay.
And this is not easy at all, actually, not easy. But I prefer it.
What's something you figured out that you can share with us?
Wow. What I figured out about
So you
myself?
Told me, yes. Anything actually.
Wow.
It's a very open question.
It is. You know that I like the open ones.
Okay.
So I will try to answer it. If I will give it a try. Maybe then I will, maybe if I don't, let's see what I figured out. What I figured out is that this thing that we have, which is pain, like the pain I have, this pain that I talked about, is not something, like I started to understand much more. That's what I figured out. Like, what does it mean really to cure it? Because I thought that to cure pain means that the pain needs to be vanished. So basically life with no pain. It sounds like, maybe somebody will hear about it and says, really? You really believe that? Come on, dude. But yes, I did. I did because the marketing was great, and to be very honest, I also wanted, there is a squirrel there. I don't want you to miss it. You see it?
I saw it.
I wanted to believe that that's something I really want. The pain was so big, that somebody comes and promises you, hey, no pain, dude. Just listen to just do this and this, and wow, and live like this, and that's it, no pain. And I was like, yeah, sure, bring it on, And that's how I feel life works. Stuff can hit you, and if you don't have certain resources, you can go into stuff. But I'm very happy that I went into the stuff because I learned a lot. And I figured out from all of it, actually, one of the stuff that I figured out is that pain is not so bad. It's not so bad like I thought.
Then with pain, I think it's a good segue into the relationship topic. And so last time we talked a bit about it.
Yeah.
And last time we were having voice messages, me and you said you're so sick of this topic and talking about this topic. And I never knew why, so I would start there. I want to know why at that point you were sick of it, and how do you feel now?
I told you this, huh?
Yes, you did.
Without giving any...
No context.
Sounds like me, yeah. So now, let's see now, right? I will try to figure it out now why I told you.
Yes.
Because probably I talked from struggle.
Okay.
It sounds like I didn't talk from happiness and peace. Obviously there was a struggle. And I can assume that the struggle was about the relationship. And I try to think about my main struggle in a relationship. It's about trust.
Okay.
And it's about trust. It's a bit about jealousy. It's about all of this stuff that is, trust. I think defines it pretty well. I think when I told you I'm sick of relationship, I think I was just very tired. I think because sometimes I invest a lot of energy and I invest a lot of energy thought process, conversations, therapy, couple therapy and single like a lot. And I think when I said it, it was probably true because I think I also remember just being a bit tired from all of that, about all of this work. Okay, that's it. The word work. Like the fact that you work, it's something that I just really got tired of.
That relationships are work?
Yes.
This part?
And in a way also life is work. But let's stay on the relationship topic. Yeah, that relationship feels like work. Like, I'm married for 13 years and you need to work. And then I'm like, wow, okay, so work means to me something. Work means to me effort and effort and too much effort maybe. And yeah, so that's what works mean for me, because maybe for somebody else work is something really cool and positive.
Yeah.
But what I meant by that, too much effort, too much energy, exhausted, kind of.
And how did you manage that? So when you're exhausted, what do you do, or how do you navigate that?
Yeah. I think for me, the first thing, you said like, what is the first thing, how you handle it, how you approach it. I think the first thing for me is like, I'm really honest about it with myself first. Like really, like, dude, you are exhausted. Like you don't like this work and digging and fighting, and you're really okay. And then what I do, I go to my partner and I talk with her about it, and I tell her, listen, I'm exhausted. And that's a harder, like the first one to admit myself, it's a bit easier. To go to her, it's harder. Because it comes with disappointing, it comes with hurting, it comes like, So I practice that. And that's what I do. I come and I say, wow, like this is really, this is not the idea of what I thought about relationship should be like. I thought it should be like I don't know, am I a naive? Sometimes I will also ask her, like, is it a naive thing to just ask to have a relationship that is just cool and just, we vibe and wow, you're going there for a weekend, like chill and nice. Like this type of, and again, it's about trust. And then this led into, I think, very good stuff, which is going to a couple therapy, which for me as a man was like, yeah. Like I have my men cliches in me as well, with all due respect to my sensitivity and all of that. But at the end, and I told her, we don't need it, or it's too expensive, all of this shit. And then we started it. And what therapy brought was bringing a dialogue between us that is just better. Because there is somebody looking, And then he's like, wait a minute, for example. It will stop me. Because what I do in a relationship many times is take a lot of space. So my partner, my wife, she sometimes disappears. Because I told you I know how to tell a story, so I can tell many stories. And when I'm starting, so like this. So a therapy is like stopping you. And then when he stops you, it's not necessarily nice. But then I get the chance to listen to her. And then I'm like, wow, it's maybe not a bad idea to listen. So I listen. And then I'm like, wow, okay, really, that's what you feel? Oh, damn. So then every time I don't want to go to the therapy, because every time this not want to go show me how much I will meet in myself something that I don't like, actually. And I don't like this part of myself that is just taking over all the time space, So that's, cool. So that's actually something we found already, like something that I found. So this year of just being in a therapy and seeing a relationship that struggles so much, going into a place of a lot of joy and a lot of no ego. That's a big one that we also learning at the moment. Less ego. So that's a thing, you know, that ego is in a relationship, you know, and you know what I mean by ego?
A little bit, but I would love you to describe it still for someone who doesn't know. What would less ego look like in a relationship?
Ego is like this idea of how, like the idea that you hold, you literally hold it, it's inside of you very strong, about what life is. Okay? So if, for example, there is this person, and this person's idea of what life is spending a lot of money and be rich and I don't know, have a big boat. That's the idea that he has. That's how he see life. You know, the success. Let's say, for example, and then he meet another person that doesn't have this idea. Actually, has the opposite, and they will let these two ideas control the conversation, the dialogue. It's a chaos kind of thing. That's the ego thing. It's a conflict. It's like the ego is the idea that you have about life, about yourself, kind of. I just came back from Italy, and we were in a camping. And a camping is something that it's not my idea to do in life, not at all. I will go to an apartment that has walls and a couch, you know, and a bed and a kitchen with some sink that you can get water when you want and don't need to go like to a well, like in the Bible times, you know. I'm actually one of those weird people that would love a door that you can lock, and maybe a net for the mosquitoes, and maybe hopefully a ventilator that you can breathe in the night in 35 degrees. Weird, right? I'm this type of person. My wife is not. She's more into, you know, you need to go to sleep on a weird mat in a tent where there is a lot of sand and weird stuff on the floor. A tent, basically, camping. So that's something that I do for years. I'm joking about it, but there is aspects that I like about it. But I will easily give it up in my life. And now we were doing the camping that I promised myself that again I will never do in my life. Apparently it happened again. Not very good with promising stuff to myself. And I'll find myself again, but this time it was even more hot than I remember.
Okay.
So I came to my wife and I told her, listen, we need some solution here. I don't know, ventilator, something. She's like, we don't need a chakaman, it's easy. And I just had a night that I woke up when the whole thing was water. The whole thing. Not only me, but the bed and under the bed. So the sweat went under, okay, on the floor. That's the level. She knows it. She told me we don't need. Why? Okay, so now it's about ego somehow, right? So what is the thing that I see here? She has a value about not spending money, environment, you know, so not to buy a plastic thing, all of this. I don't. I don't want to die from sweat in the night.
I see.
Is it?
I see.
Does it qualify as a? Also funny, so it was working. At least it's funny.
Yeah.
But I think it is ego, because ego, I don't want it to be only just a thing that is just like, hey, it's not like that. Ego is just something that you hold.
Yeah.
So, and you can be controlled by it. So you can speak from it completely and lose, and you can also, it's like I'm an Israeli, right? So I can speak fully as an Israeli, and I can say, yeah, and I can be like Israel, but I can also watch it.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
And let me think of follow-up. First, how do you know that couples therapy would be beneficial? Like, how do you decide to go? Is it when, for example, there's a lot of arguments? Is it when there's you don't know, I don't know how to explain, when you're not compromising? Like, what is a sign that would be useful to go to couples therapy? Is it when you're just not happy?
I mean, I just said before why I went to couple therapy. I was very honest about it by saying, you know, literally my wife told me.
Okay.
But I agreed, right?
Yeah.
So maybe your question is like why I agreed even though I didn't want to go.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why did you?
I didn't want to go, but I agreed. something in me said, okay. So it was not only fear for my wife, but it was also something in me that was very curious to see, okay, you know what was for me? The acceptance that we don't manage on our own, like we need help. We didn't manage to snap out of the ego, snap out of fights, kind of. Everybody goes in his, like we didn't manage that, even though we are a couple that speaks. But my wife came and said, you know, I know about these therapists, let's try them out. Let's try them out. And then it met my ego, which said, we don't need help. This, I think, was not strong enough. And I was happy to go there. And I was also trusting myself in a way that says, okay, you know what, if I'm going, that's another thing that is important to say, that I hope that also people that hear understand how important it is. I said, okay, if I'm going to go fully with the truth, like with myself, with everything. I open up everything. I don't, because I know also how to play very well.
Yeah.
I can also play, I'm a good player. I can pretend. I said, okay, watch it. And I do that. And I try very best, because I think only then you can start work with stuff and you can start learn. And it's cool, you know, it's also very practically, you get tools. Okay. You know that, for example, this is something also that maybe will be interesting. I don't know if I ever told you this, but we use a tool sometimes. It's called Imago. And it's called, in German, it's called Zwiegespräch. So what does it mean? It means that you open a timer, like 10 minutes, and you speak. And the other person cannot talk while you speak. And also, you should try not to make expressions with his face, because this is very annoying. Okay. Because sometimes, so imagine now we go to the past when in a relationship that you were having an argument and somebody tells you don't speak. And then the person starts to speak and you will like, what, you know, like all of this stuff taken away from you, but then you started also to put expressions, you know. So sometimes I will also tell my wife, hey, but no expressions also, you know, because she's like trying to communicate.
Yeah, it's still
resent with the eyes, you know. So yeah, so it's a very cool one, because the tool gives you a structure which you are more, supports you more to listen.
Okay.
So therapy was showing me important stuff about myself, first of all, that I knew, but I became just more aware of what they create. And I learn also to forgive myself, because I know that I don't do it because I want to harm. I'm doing it because it's just something that I do. I speak, and there is stuff that I need to learn, and it's a good idea to listen. Listen is the whole topic, you know, listening. It's a big one. It's a long journey, and it's a long road that will never end for me to understand how listening can go deep.
And so you would recommend it for anyone who's having a struggle? You would recommend trying it out?
No.
No, you wouldn't recommend it?
No. I don't like to recommend anyone.
Okay.
Anything. Because people don't listen anyway.
Yeah.
I don't recommend. So to whoever listen, I don't recommend. I don't not recommend, but I don't recommend. I don't. Nah. You know, how can I recommend? Really, if I ask myself, if I go now, I hear a couple of this, and I will recommend them. The best for me is to tell them my story.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what I do. That's what I really try to do. So that's what I hope, that if somebody listen and struggle in the relationship, in their life, and my experience in therapy was, because some people, maybe they're not comfortable. You know, you have so many types of therapies. That's why I don't like to recommend, because you have therapies of dancing. You have people go and they dance. You have people who go to some tantra trainings together. You have, you know, so many types of languages, you know, that you can do in therapy. I know a lot about breathing, breath work, like so much. So
I actually like that you don't recommend anything. Because people will listen, they will hear stories, and they will get attracted to certain things or not, and take from it what they want.
You know why I don't like to recommend? You know, it's another thing that it really becomes, for me, very clear. It's like when I recommend somebody, for me, it's like almost like I don't trust you. Like instead of recommend somebody something, I rather to tell them I trust you. I trust you that you will figure it out, man, you know? Like why not, why saying that is less than the recommendation? You see the problem of recommending stuff?
Yeah.
Like if I tell you, Lana, listen, I'm done with Netflix. Seriously, I'm done. I cannot see this fucking Netflix. Please, last time you were amazed about a movie, I want a recommendation. I want you to write it down for me because that's great. You know what I mean? It came from me. It's clear. It's specific. You know?
Yeah.
You see the...
I see.
I like that. But recommending about a couple that struggle to go to therapy, I don't want to have this on my head. No.
Okay. Good to know. Let me just look at my questions, see.
Growing up.
Yes.
I had to, you see? I had to.
Yes, I was at growing up or having kids. Let's start with growing up. So you told me today when we were having breakfast that growing up is difficult. What is your experience with growing up and like the difficulty with it?
It's amazing that I'm telling you this stuff, you know, that I don't remember how quick I'm saying this stuff and how true it is, you know. Growing up, yeah. So I will start with the difficult stuff, huh? Because there is really cool stuff as well. Okay, first of all, the difficult stuff. I just went to. I'm usually, for years, very proud that I have a lot of hair. You know, like you see people getting bald and stuff like this, and I'm like, wow. I mean, not proud, but I'm like happy that I have that. You know.
Yeah.
I don't need to take care of it. But for the first time, I go to do a haircut, and then the guy tells me, because usually I tell him to you say in German, how ausdünnen. When you remove the amount of the density of the hair, I don't know how you call it you reduce a bit. And then it's the first time he told me, maybe not a good idea anymore in this area. And I'm like, wow. Oh no. It hurt me a bit. It showed me what, it impacted me. I don't know. I'm 42. I'm looking at myself in the mirror. I feel like I'm having like a dead body, like a daddy body. Like there is a dead body. I feel like I'm this daddy. Like it's stuff that comes. So you see, it starts visually. It hits you visually. Hair, white hair, of course, but this I have for long. So yes, I'm talking about appearance, which is obviously, as I'm saying, it's something that I try to take care. But that's the first stuff that I recognize as a struggle a bit. It's like, you start to compare, you start to see young people. Okay, and then there is energy. I don't have a lot of energy. I remember an old memory of having really a lot of energy. Like, today at 9 o'clock I'm gonna be done. There will be days that I can go for a week partying. I remember days like this. This body was able to do stuff like that anymore. I cannot. So I'm losing power. So physical stuff. And I think there is something about growing up, when I'm now a bit diving into a bit more inside, it's about I know, a bit like I felt like I'm becoming more and more serious, very serious. Like it's a thing of grown-ups. I see it and I suddenly saw it in me as well. A lot worrying, a lot talking, politics, and I don't know, serious, and life is hard, and there is something, only when I look at my kids I can really get a bit proportion from it and stop for a bit. But it's like I used to laugh a lot in my life. I was like the clown of all clowns, I was an entertainer for years, just I stopped with it for many years. That's another thing, by the way. I don't want to create a mess in our structure here, but that's another thing in spirituality that I didn't like. It was not funny to me. It was too serious. That's the best. I didn't like the seriousness of how spirituality meant to me. Yeah. So yeah, serious, yeah. But growing up is, and now I'm going into the, I feel like there is this wisdom that comes with life experience, that it's like I'm starting to understand what it's about, you know? Because I don't want to pretend that I feel like I have some wisdom. Of course, I have some of it. But I'm not owning wisdom, but I'm starting to feel what does it mean to live on this planet for many years and collecting something, collecting this thing which is wisdom, which is not about books, but it's more about, wow, okay. I can relax actually. I can enjoy. You know, like something just starting slowly to understand that, hey dude, so time can pressure you, all of this growing up, but also it can create some urgency, which is like, hey man, so okay, so if the clock is ticking, maybe it's about time to chill a bit.
With this wisdom, you get a bit of an understanding about what life is about.
So what it's about?
Yes.
Okay, wow, that's a beautiful question. So what it's about? Okay. I think enjoyment in life, enjoyment to enjoy, is really a big part of life. Like I mean, let's say you're catching me in a time that I really feel it. And I don't want to keep it there because it's not very satisfying, right? To just say enjoying, like what is enjoying really? Like that's something that because I allow this term in my life and to understand, wow, it's important. Cannot be that life is like, you know, people that are in a race.
Yes.
So everybody has a race. I was also in a race. I'm still there is a race. You know, success, you know, stuff comes, you know, it's a world, it's a very activated world. There is a lot of information and expressions and a lot in this world. This is not 1700s, you know, where, you know, you live somewhere and that's your, like we, you know, you can sit here and you can know about all of the war in the world and all about the successful people and all about the information and all. So you can go in a race to achieve it. And I feel like that life is not about that. It can include some desires and some goals, of course. It's cool because then you have where to go a bit. But I feel that life is also supposed to be about first for discovering really what is this thing that you are. Like get clear a bit, you know. A bit, you know, just to not go insane in the head all the time, understand a bit about yourself. That's also life, it's important. Because I feel all of us, we get lost, you know, it's important to a bit understand for a second and also to enjoy. And enjoyment means, you know, if you have kids and you love them, then enjoy with them and play with them. And if you have a wife, then stop complaining about it a bit, you know, a bit, and enjoy. And enjoy, just enjoy. And what is enjoy for you? If it's talking, then enjoy. And that's something I've really discovered at the moment. What does it mean for me to enjoy? And then it's sometimes a bit hard, you know. If you go with yourself and ask, why do I like to enjoy? You discover that many times you will judge the stuff that you like to enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there is some voice that tells you, no, you should enjoy gym, you know? Right? You should enjoy half a marathon, you know. It will tell you you cannot enjoy sitting on the couch, you know, like this. It will not tell you this, right? So that's where spirituality, you see, that's why I see the connection. Oh, that's beautiful. So I see spirituality was supporting me in that. To understand a bit about this box, there is a voice here. I know that we like to look at people that are a bit, we label them as crazy and they talk to themselves in bus stations and stuff like this, you know. We all have a voice. You know, if somebody will put a record, if somebody can put out and it will project, we are all crazy, right?
Oh my goodness.
We are all, so I learned to be much less afraid of this voice, to understand, okay, this is something that constantly try to push to a certain direction. But it's not this is not who I am. It's not only who I am. There is also a very important part of love. There is love, there is friendships, there is connections, there is relationship, there is a bit landing, there is a balance a bit. But for me, that's why I don't want to go into the balance now, because of course balance, right? But for me, Shay, at the moment, it's a lot about enough the work, enough the books and the gurus and the knowledge and all of this, you know, and all of these retreats. I did it. It's thank you, but now it's more about, come on, you know, what is your life? Your life is house, kids. Okay, let's go, kind of.
You struggled with the idea of growing up. There are these kind of physical aspects. There's also the energy part. How did you navigate that? Like how? Yeah.
How do I navigate? How do I cope with it? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah. I laugh about it a lot. I mean, this really works, you know? I really laugh about it a lot, you know? I'm like, I mean, it's or I will cry. I mean, I can cry, I can be sad about it, I can also do that, but at the moment, it's also, it's a lot about joking about it, you know? It's a lot about, you know, being with my wife on the beach and seeing like this 25 years old, you know, with all of the youth and energy and testosterone and this insanity. And I'm like, Malena, look, you see youth, go. Like I can joke about it a little bit, which the laughter that comes from the outside people really charge me a lot. You know, that from my struggle kind of, that has truth inside, yeah. I can also cause some joy.
Does it make it feel lighter also?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, humor should be light, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes, that's a good point, yes. So that's it, it creates light in me first. So it's a good point, yeah. I think that's what I do it also, because I want to be a bit light with it. Yeah. But I don't, it's not 100% a success. It's not. No, I can go into that sometimes and I can, yeah, you know. It's just, sometimes, you know, I just, you know, troubles with sleep. I don't remember when I was 25, I even thought about this stuff, you know. I don't, you know, it's all problems like this. I wake up to the toilet, you know, to pee in the night. It's stuff like this. I hold my phone like this, you know, like this. And it comes like, you saw it today, you know, like this. Really, my hand is pretty long, you know, but it's like my hand is not enough anymore. That's like the glasses are after the length of the hand, you know. So it's stuff like that. That's how I cope. But I think I also cope in other ways. I cope in therapy, you know. Therapy I would recommend. I mean, therapy, no. Therapy was a big blessing for me, of course. And my therapist, and therapy also, it's, you know what therapy for me is? It's like accountability. It's like I show up there, and she helps me see if I'm selling myself some bullshit. You know, it's a cool thing to have, you know what I mean? Because you know what I mean, that you can give yourself some bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to have somebody that loves you from the outside and calls, because sometimes a friend, it's hard even for a friend.
It's hard.
I like this in therapy. But you need to like it, right? Maybe some people don't like it.
Yeah.
That's it. I really like it. I really get excited when somebody tells me, hey, bullshit.
Okay.
I'm like, wow, thank you. Like, but just to be clear, I don't feel old. Yeah.
You don't?
No. To be very clear, I don't feel old. I feel like actually like a fully child, fully. Like most of them, I feel like a child. I just think that there is like this challenge of growing up, and the world looks at you as this package, you know. That's what kinds of create, you know, like how people looks at you. I feel like it changed. Like people look at you different when you're 40 than how they look at you when you're 20.
Yeah.
Respect, you know, like there is a respect level. Like in German there is a different language, you know. It's like stuff like that.
There's also the
Sir.
assumption. There's also the assumption that you know better.
Sometimes, yeah, people assume it. Okay, but see, this I don't go that far. I don't know that.
I assume it sometimes.
Okay.
That the older, the more you know how to make better decisions and your life is more figured out.
Yeah,
This is that assumption.
I know what you mean. But you know why I have a problem with that? Because if you just look at age as a factor of wisdom and you leave out the experience of what you did with the time, it's a problem. You know, you feel me on that?
Yeah, it's related to experience, not actual time.
Because if I give you a person which is 40 years old,
Yeah.
he traveled the world, you know? He was exploring spirituality, he traveled the world, he did all of this, a lot of experiences and being alone or maybe, I don't know, versus a person that is 65 years old, but live in a house and, you know, living his life in his, maybe, you know, comfort zone, I don't know. Would you choose the 60 years old?
No, not necessarily.
But some people maybe would choose the 60 years old because they will actually say, okay, maybe I can learn from him more, but I would choose the 40. So that's for me, like I like both. I like the age and I like also the thing, and I think, I mean, that's what impressed me in people the most, if you will ask me. It's like, what did you do with your life, actually? Not which knowledge you acquired, like what did you expect? What happened there? How many times your heart was broken? How did it feel? What did you learn from it? How did you cope with it? How are you now with that? Where you would go, what you would explore, what will interest? Like that, people who I like people like that. A lot, yeah.
What did you learn most from your kids?
From
Your kids.
my kids? Mamma mia. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. First of all, I have two. So I have to say two answers at least, because from each one of them I learned something different.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, and I will not mention their names. From each one gave me what, so they will figure it out in the future if they will ever watch it, who is who, you know? Just because it's funny to me. But I think from one of them, I learned to just be very happy. Like very happy. like just radiating, like sunshine, like, you know? Like it's indescribable. Like you know, like imagine you have something that radiates this happiness, and it's in front of you, you know. And it can also be overwhelming sometimes, you know. But I learned that it's something nice to consider. Being happy like this, like it's a choice you can do in the day to smile. Like that's what I learned from one that comes up into my head. Like it's a nice reminder to have. Like you're at home, you know. Again, grown up, you know, fuck, you know, I need to speak, I need to pay, you know, whatever. And then you see this thing, you know, and then it's like, oh, okay. But it's really like that, you know. And from the other one, and I think they're both showing me something, how to be real, but everybody has his way to show me how to be very real with life, kinda, you know. And the other one shows me that it's very okay to be different. It's like we cannot deny that you have some, let's say, a very known normal product of how a human being is. You know, he has friends and he talks, and he has a small talk, and you know, all of this stuff that like it's a common expectation of how a man should behave, or how a person should behave. And what I learned from my kid is that it's so okay to be different. It's beautiful to be different, to own it, you know, to say, okay, I'm not interested in talking to anyone. To fight for it, you know, to like, that's what I mean by own it, to say, okay, that's who I am. I'm different. He doesn't even say I'm different, actually, bullshit. It's just that. And to me, also as a parent, to support them back, to tell them thank you, instead of.
As someone with no kids, it's very hard to imagine what life is like with kids and whether that's a life path you want to pursue or not.
Should I recommend kids? No, I'm kidding. No. You know?
And I guess you never know until you try it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, was your experience having kids like what you expected? Was it much harder? Was it much better?
Much harder, much harder than I expected.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Knowing what you know now of having kids, would you have had kids with this knowledge?
Yeah, I think you feel it, no? You know, I so love to be a dad that that's so cool that you ask this, because 100% yes.
Really?
Like, I can't, and you know, it's such a good question to ask me today in 24. Because if you will ask me this 2 years ago, I will give you probably the same answer, but it will not have such a intention inside, because, you know, I do feel that I worked a lot on my parenthood, you know, because we just talked about it before. You know, that we people assume, I feel it a lot, that kids, you know, you get your kids, they are your kids, right? And by default, because they are your kids, right? Flesh and blood, they love you, trust you, want to be around you, right? I have this expectation as well. I wonder if people will relate to that. Very quickly, I understood, no fucking way. It's not like that. What is it? You need to earn it. And how you need to earn it, you need to start understand how to be with kids and how to be with your kids and who are they and what do they like. And to start making the compromises that it means, which means like to forget about this guy that you were before the kids for a while, which is not true. It's not easy. And when I was a dad the first time, I felt very lonely in this feeling that I had, which was like, I was very sad to suddenly lose my life before having a kid. I was extremely sad. I was sad, and I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know who to speak about it with, because I was also in a situation that I didn't have a lot of resources. It was very, very hard. And you know what, in one point came to my head, it was like, okay, it's not their fault, dude, you know? Like, they didn't choose. Like, okay, it's not their fault, it's not their problem. And then I started to really do a lot of work of spending time with them. It is very hard. And I'm so happy that I feel like at the moment, feels like a cruise mode, when we just have fun a lot. We joke a lot, we have fun a lot. Really like two buddies of mine, you know, a girl and a boy. And it could change. That's another thing that I'm trying to remind myself a bit, not to hold about it so strong, because they change. Yeah. My 11 years old, sometimes I don't feel like he's really interested. You know? He wants to speak about certain stuff, but sometimes we manage. And it's something that I try to remember, that they change, I change. It's constant.
It's a lot of change. And if someone wants to have kids but has still fear, is it part of it? Is it normal?
How to cope with this fear?
Should we listen to it? Is it like a...
What does it mean to listen to a fear? To follow it?
Yeah, to follow it.
To follow the fear?
Yeah.
I think it's a bad idea, no?
Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't feel like a good idea, you know, because I think we're touching something pretty fundamental and important, fear. Like I feel many times still afraid. Afraid of making a decision, afraid of doing the wrong, like stuff like this, I'm afraid. And I think that sometimes I many times think about, okay, what can I do now? Like what, because there are a couple of choices there to do. Or you can listen to the fear, like you say. I said, okay, the fear tells me I cannot do it, so I will not do it. Or I can ignore the fear completely and said, and do it like this. Which I tried both. Both I didn't like. What I'm trying to do now at the moment more with the fear was to be aware of it and to not let it kind of sit on the driver's seat, kind of, you know? I don't want it to run the show.
Yeah.
You see, I feel that maybe fear, when I feel afraid, I know this experience that is just control everything. I don't like it. And I feel many times that it still happens to me. But the new experience that I like with fear is like, try to listen to it a bit, to the fear. Not to follow it, but to listen it. You know, it's like when you're afraid, what do? You don't want to look at the, right?
Yeah.
But it has a voice.
Okay, listen to that voice.
I mean, it's inside of you.
Yeah.
Why not to honor it a bit? I mean, you know, you can be aggressive with it. And I don't think that's what it wants. It's like a voice. What a voice wants. Like if you have a voice, what does it want? What do you think? Now, can it be so simple? It's pretty cool, no?
Yeah.
But it's hard. Because this voice sometimes will say stuff that will not be easy. I have a fear of jumping from high. And of course, all of my family, you know, give them 10 meters, they will do of course. And I'm the only one. I'm 42 years old. I have the shame of talking about it, but I want to make this thing clear somehow. So I'm willing to put this embarrassing story on the table. So every time we go to a situation when we have this jumping opportunity, Dad, you have to jump. Dad, you have to jump. You know, because they like to see me in this situation because it's funny for them, because it's again, entertainment. But actually there is real fear there. A real fear. So it's very easy for me to take away completely the situation when I'm saying, okay, I'm not going to do it. Or I will do it and I will be angry. And what I try to do is just I go and I'm afraid and I'm terrified, and they're starting to laugh. I hear them from down. I'm like, okay, they have a show. This is already great. And then my fear, I'm starting to listen to it. And it's telling me, Shay, if you will jump, you will hit your head. I said, really? How do you know? I said, because look at that. How? I'm trying. At the end, usually, if you give it a bit, it's not necessarily that there is some big resolvement, but something eases up a bit.
Okay.
It's like, for me, it's better to not resist it, but a bit.
When you were talking about having the kid and feeling lonely, and you mentioned to me that you wanted to create kind of a men's circle. I wanted to know, why did you decide to do that? What was the point?
Wow, the men's circle. Yeah, so I told you about my intention to create a men's circle, which is something that I'm working on at the moment. It's something that I participate myself. I mean, that's how I got the motivation to do it. Participating, just men gathering in a circle and sharing. So the concept of it was about sharing and about facilitate it in a way that there are certain agreements that create some safety for the sharings. So it's, you know, like, because you don't want it to be like a normal conversation, because then it's not, it doesn't have a purpose. So the value of sharing is very strong in that, and the fact that it's only men And the absence of women from this circle is very, very important because men behave in front of women and without women differently, including myself. Yeah, because we care about you and we want to impress you. And maybe it's not dominant all the time, but it's like it's there. So I discovered, it's something I discovered just by trying it out, that I like, wow, men are, like put men in a situation like this. I like men in this situation.
You didn't before.
I struggle with connecting to men. I'm struggling with that for all of my life because the type of men that I connected to are type of men that likes a bit to talk about their insides, not necessarily the organs, and I don't find it often. Okay. And then I'm trying also to be a bit different because it's okay. But it's like, when I meet men like this, I always feel very, very happy. I always feel very, very happy. So something about my work, also working as a coach for a couple of years already, having clients and having all type of clients, finally, it came very clearly to my mind that I just want to work with men. Okay. I want to work with men because I feel that there is some value that I have. And this whole men's circle that I want to do is something completely free, and it's something that I'm doing for myself. I want a men's circle, and I found this group of very nice men that are willing to participate, and we'll give it a try. And based on my experience, I think that it's very good when men gathers and a bit discover that we struggle for stuff which are very similar, that we learn how to listen to each other and to see that it's a good idea to speak about struggles of a man. It's not a bad idea to speak about it a bit, to bring it up a bit, because it gives you a feeling of like you're not alone. Because I don't think that many times it's somehow clear. You know, there is so much model of a man that the world see. You know, the powerful politician. I don't know. I feel like men has a lot of bad reputation. I feel like I wanted to change. I see also all of this distrust between men and women. I mean, when you think about men and women, look what happens. Look what a woman needs at the moment in life in order to meet a man. She needs an app. She needs Instagram's accounts. She needs messages. She needs to investigate and ask questions. She needs a lot. And that's all stuff that I learned from hearing two stories, because old generation, I didn't have that. In order to feel some type of safety, that she can say, okay, I will take the risk, I will meet this man. So wow, there is so much topics to discuss between men, and so that's something that I'm about to do. There is already the first one that I'm planned for September. Pretty nervous about it, but this is something that I'm working on at the moment.
It's really exciting, and I would love to know a bit more. I've obviously never been to a men's circle. What is the framework of it? Like, how do you, other than that?
How does it look like, kinda?
How does it look like?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Facilitator? Do you go like?
So I'm the facilitator. So when I arrange, so there is a difference when I participate or facilitate. So you want to know about the facilitation of it?
Maybe just in general.
Very general, yeah. So my idea, because there is,
there's different types.
I mean, I saw something and I took what I liked, and I take what I like.
Okay, tell me about you.
So my way is like 1 hour to 3 or 1 hour to 2.5, let's say. I don't like, because when people share, they need time. I don't want to put a clock. But I say, hey guys, let's between 1 to 3, let's go with it.
Yeah.
We sit in a circle. Okay. There is a candle in the middle. Because I learned from the women circles, not because it was my idea, but Lana told me, my wife, she told me it's a good idea to put like a candle. It feels good. There is agreements that the circle kind of together commits to, which a couple of them will be silence. We respect silence in the circle. Means that also if there is silence, we don't need to fill it up with something. We can also bear it together. There is sharing, which clarifies what sharing means here. We're sharing from our own experience, not from knowledge. Like talk about something you experience. Talk out of that. There is There is privacy. There's another agreement. We agree that we leave everything here in the circle. You know, it's a commitment. So there is stuff like this. So this something that I learned, and I want to bring. And what I do, I ask if it's okay, if you want to add something, if you're bothered about something like that. And what I like to do then, and this is really something that I'm still trying to figure it out, but it's important. I think many times, I don't know if you feel it also in the podcast, but let's say we start a podcast, you want to land a bit before. Yeah. Like I feel it also in the circle, I want that. And some people, they just meditate, you know, I mean it just a bit. It's not my thing. I like to play the guitar. So I will bring my guitar. And I will tell them just maybe, I don't know, that's an idea. Close eyes, a bit play them. A bit just listen to this and just land a bit. And then you close the circle, you know, maybe with a bit 1 more minute at the end. So there is the time for sharing. There is a stick in the middle. And the stick somebody takes when you want to share. And when you finish share, you put the stick back. And then there is a bit silent, uncomfortable a bit, you know. Yeah. Like this.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah? Really? Yeah.
My last question to you is for today. What if you mixed it up? What if men and women were in a circle together?
I've been.
What would that look like?
I've been.
And? How
It
different?
is also interesting.
Okay.
Very. All necessary.
Okay.
All of them. Only women, only in the mix, all have a value. The one that I felt, the mixed one, you know, there is a attraction, like there is desires there, there is, you know, there is that stuff, you know. But then you can also open stuff like this there. You know, the level, it's also important to say you don't have to share.
Yeah.
It's also something that I clarify again, also in the agreement. You don't have to share.
You can just show up.
Of course, the fact that you come is a gift.
Right.
You came, you listened to me.
Yeah.
What do I need more? If you want to, if it's nice for you to share, share. So this is something very important. That's the stuff that I clarify because because people come a bit, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you know. Is it like that's something I know how to do, let's say. I know how to let people, hey, you know, it's all good, you know.
Yeah.
It's like you came because you're curious. Let it drive the thing. Let's try, you know.
Thank you so much. That was, first I never knew what men's circle was.
Yeah?
Now I'd be curious to join one, like a women's circle.
Yeah.
Even to create one.
Yes.
And
Oh, Lana, you can do that. No, fully.
yeah.
Fully.
And yeah, I see the benefit of it.
Yeah? Yeah. Thank you, Lana. Thank you. It was really, it again was amazing for me.
Me too.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question only, if I may?
Yeah.
Did I talk slower this one?
I think you did.
Yes.
You definitely did. I didn't, inside of me, I didn't feel the you know what I mean?